Hooters filed for bankruptcy this year. That's really sad. I think we should have a moment of silence for Hooters. It's crazy how many companies file for bankruptcy literally every day, and they make so much money. Some of them make bazillions of dollars. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some principles that will help make sure that your pavement business doesn't join the likes of Hooters and all those other bankrupt companies. Poor Hooters. No, don't want to see sad Hooters. What's up, guys? Thanks so much for watching. This video is, of course, brought to you by our amazing friends who are not bankrupt. They're doing amazing. MightyLineTape.com/stripe it. Go to MightyLineTape.com/stripe it. They'll send you a free sample kit. We love Mighty Line. Phenomenal products. Check it out. So I got this list in front of me here of like all the companies that just so far in the first 4 months of this calendar year have filed for bankruptcy. Like, it's crazy, man. Quicksilver, Roxy, Red Lobster, TGI Fridays, Spirit Airlines, Party City, Forever 21, 23andMe, Publishers Clearinghouse. And you know what's crazy is like all these companies make like millions of dollars. Forever 21 makes $4 billion in revenue every year, and they just filed for bankruptcy. So I think there's an important lesson there that we need to remember as pavement business owners. It's not all about the revenue. So the point of this video is not to help you get more revenue. The point is, what can you do to make sure that you're actually making real money, AKA profit, and not just, reporting a ton of money like some of these companies have and are now like joining Hooters and no longer existing anymore. So here's the biggest thing, in my opinion, that you need to look at in your business that will help you ensure that you don't join Hooters and go bankrupt. And it's, are you profitable on every project? What are your gross profit numbers? Can you job cost and make sure that you're pricing your jobs correctly? So if I said any of those words and you're like, oh, I've heard those before, but I don't even know where to start. Consider this like a 3-minute crash course, okay? About job costing and understanding your gross profit. Now, there's a lot more that goes into making sure that you're not going bankrupt, your operating costs and where you're spending all those extra operational expenses. But we're just going to focus on the job itself, okay? And I think if you can develop this skill early on and do job costing every job to understand how profitable you are, it will really, really help you and make sure that you're making money, which is the whole point of doing what we're doing. So first things first, when you do a job and you send a bill to a customer, you spent money in order to fulfill that job. So striping is what I'm going to refer to here in this video because striping rules, and that's just the easiest way to do it. When you go to a striping job, you're generally expending like 2 key things every time: labor and paint, right? So even if you're an owner operator and you're not like paying yourself hourly, you still should consider, like, for tracking purposes, give yourself an hourly rate. So ask yourself, if I replaced myself on this job and I sent Matt to go do this painting job for me, how much am I going to pay Matt, right? Now, the second part of the equation is, well, how long did Matt take to paint that parking lot? You'd be amazed, man. Like when I started my business, I wasn't tracking this stuff. I was just like doing work and trying to make money, and which is great. But you need to start tracking your time and assigning that time a cost. So one key thing to remember, even though Matt might cost me like $30 an hour in wage because he's really expensive, there's going to be other costs associated with that, okay? Do a little bit of research on this. You're going to have to be paying, depending on your country or province or state, state tax, federal tax, income tax, pension, employment insurance. Check your local areas, what those costs are. So $30 an hour on paper might actually be costing you like $35 to $40 an hour. So that's the biggest one that you need to track. And I'm dead serious. If you can track the labor, the rest of it is a piece of cake, okay? Because the second thing that you're going to be tracking is like your materials. So if you're a seal coating company, how many gallons of product did we put down? If we're striping, how many gallons of paint did we use? So if I sent Matt to a job and he used 2 full pails of paint, 10 gallons of paint, all I need to do is make sure that on my software or my spreadsheet, wherever I'm writing this stuff down, that I track 10 gallons of paint and how much I buy that paint for. Now, there could be some other costs that you want to track in there as well. if you had to rent equipment for a job, for example. So you had to go rent a specialized piece of equipment, a pressure washer or something. That cost that you put is directly associated with you fulfilling that job. So if you didn't rent that thing, you couldn't do the job. That is part of your direct costs as well. Now, you could get really crazy, and basically start tracking fuel and how much fuel you're burning in the machines or how much fuel you're burning in the truck to get to the job site. I don't think you need to do that to start. Let accountants do that later when you're growing really fast so you can figure out exactly where all that fuel cost is going. Generally, I don't think you need to do that. Maybe you'll track it if you drive really far away to a job site and you could just add on your little spreadsheet $50 for truck fuel because we drove a few hours. That by itself is the best thing you can do. Tally up all those numbers, your labor, your paint, equipment rentals, any other costs directly associated with you doing that job, and then subtract that from the revenue. And that's it. So if I had to pay Matt and the paint and a little bit of maybe I rented one piece of equipment, a grinder, maybe it cost me $300 for all those things, Matt's time, my paint, my grinder rental. But if I charged out $1,000, that means I have $700 in gross profit left. Cha-ching, 70% gross profit. Just tracking that will open your eyes because you may be making a lot of revenue, but you might be expending a lot to produce that revenue. You're going to see this a lot if you're doing a lot of lower cost jobs, if you're an owner operator and you're not tracking your own time. This is the best thing you can do to get started. Now, we could talk for literally an hour, but if I do that, Matt will kill me. So I can't do that. There's a lot more that goes into understanding your overall costs for your company and your operating costs. If this at all interests you and you want to know more about it, put a comment in this video and we will put out content on it. Because even in that example I gave you, where you profited $700 on that job, all the other stuff it costs you to run your business, like your insurance and your vehicle insurance and your truck payments, that $700 can disappear really quickly, which leads you to potentially ending up like Hooters. We don't want you to be like Hooters. We want you to remember Hooters, but we don't want you to be Hooters. So if you like this video, let us know. Let us know if you want more information on job costing, on making sure that you stay on the right side of the profit line. And we're here to help, man. So keep your stripes hot, keep your seal coat black, keep doing what you're doing, and we'll talk to you next week.